As a Euro bike apologist, it's a little hard to not feel some schadenfreude over the new Kawasaki ZX-6R recall issue. KTM's camshaft's been blowing up for the past 2 years, and Kawasaki said, hold my beer, let's get some bottom end issues. Imagine you've put your deposit down for a brand new ZX-6R. You've been saving your pennies year over year because you can't get an R6 anymore, and you'll be damned if your inline-4 Scream is silenced. You take delivery of the bike, make it halfway through the break-in service, and then you see this picture on your social media feed. Important, stop sale notice. Stop retail sales and delivery of all 2024 and 2025 ZX-6R models. Well, that can't be good. You may have heard murmurings and rumors of ZX-6R engines failing, but you assume that was just all from dumb street squids who just keep their bike pinned on the limiter, or maybe stunt riders who are just abusing the crap out of their motorcycles. Unfortunately, it looks like anybody who currently owns a 2024 or 2025 Kawasaki ZX-6R is gonna have to keep their bike parked while they wait for some warranty work. I don't know, guys, it kind of sounds like all the Kawasaki simps might have been better off buying one of those unreliable European motorcycles like this Ducati next to me. Can't remember the last time one of these had a stop sale, can you? The stop sale letter received by dealerships and then shared by dealer employees online indicates that the affected vehicle's engines may lose power during operation due to a seizure of crank bushing number 5. For those of you not as well versed in the intricate mechanics of a motorcycle engine, this means that ZX-6R owners are in big trouble. The bushing seizes, causing the engine to lock, causing the rear wheel to lock, causing the bike to probably crash. Unless you're an amazingly gifted rider that just skids the bike all the way to a stop going 70 miles per hour. That's, of course, the worst case scenario. Some owners have reported that when the bushing went, it just threw the timing out and damaged the top end of the motor, not causing an immediate seizure, but resulting in some damage. But in that worst case scenario, imagine you're doing a sick highway pull in the middle of the night going 186 miles per hour on your 600, only if the engine actually seize up on you, locking the rear wheel like it's some sort of 1980s two-stroke GP bike, launching you into the stratosphere. Not good. When these stop sale letters first started appearing online, many Kawasaki simps were quick to say, well, hey, look, I checked the VINs, my motorcycle is not on the list, so I'm in the clear. Meanwhile, word is spreading that Kawasaki is issuing do not ride letters to owners, meaning that they have to come up with a plan of action, and until they do, it's best that you keep the bike parked. This means that if you ride the motorcycle after Kawasaki issued a do not ride order, it may mean that Kawasaki won't honor the warranty work and you may be on the hook for all those repairs. But it begs the question, how widespread is this problem? Is Kawasaki being overly cautious, just pulling all the bikes from the showroom floors and making sure nobody with the ZX-6 actually rides them right now? And look, the ZX-6R is by no means an unpopular motorcycle. One may even say that it's the front runner for Japanese inline-4 supersports at the moment. What, Suzuki's selling a bunch of GSX-R 750s? That Kawi does look like a pretty good bike. So in theory, Kawasaki could be on the hook for replacing or repairing thousands of 636 engines. And I don't know about you, but if I was a bean counter of a Kawasaki, I'd probably be pulling out what little hair is left on my cul-de-sac on top of my head. I mean, can you imagine for a moment the amount of labor hours it would take all of the dealerships around the country to take these motors in, crack the case open, replace the bushing, and put it all back together? Honestly, in a lot of cases, it's more cost effective to just replace the whole motor, but really, I don't think Kawasaki's sitting on thousands of spare 636 engines, are they? Worst case scenario, we're looking at COVID-era levels of supply chain disruption as all of these machines would be repaired or replaced with new engines. The stop sale is for the 24 and 25 model year bikes. You'd think that buying a late model Japanese motorcycle would kind of insulate you from the risk of having a lemon, right? From the stories we've been seeing so far, if your crankshaft bushing has lasted over 6,000 miles, you're probably in the clear. It seems that if the engines are gonna fail, they're gonna fail before 6,000 miles, give or take. That's based on some information we found doing some forum sleuthing. While the stop sale and the do not ride orders have been issued for all 24 and 25 model year Kawasaki ZX-6Rs, we don't know if all of those VINs are affected. every single motorcycle produced for both the 24 and 25 model year would kind of be a disaster for Kawasaki. Repairing or replacing that many units that they sold throughout those 2 model years would be an undertaking, to say the least. So at the time of writing this video and producing it here in the studio, no official recalls have been issued, but I won't be surprised if we do see one in the next couple of weeks, as Kawasaki's going under the knife and figuring out what's going on with all the motorcycles' bottom end issues. Now look, everybody always talks about Japanese motorcycles and their proven build quality and reliability, right? They have a ridiculous reputation for being unkillable, bulletproof, and amazing in every single way. And they have some staunch advocates online. So how does Kawasaki reach KTM levels of fervor and drama when this motor has been basically unchanged since 2019, and the Japanese are known for their fastidious production and facilities? And also, why would only the last 2 model years be the ones that are affected? Well, it could be anything from a part supplier changing or a change in fabrication or manufacturing at the process of making the engine. The unfortunate thing about mechanical part failures like this is because the supply chain is so complicated, it's not immediately recognizable as to what exactly is causing the issue and where in production the issue is happening. The number 5 crankshaft bushing might be completely in spec during the time of production and assembly of the engine, but only after wear and tear for a little bit, you start to notice a glaring issue. This is actually really similar to what happened to the KTM camshaft drama, where oil just wasn't getting to the top end of the motor enough, and then they actually addressed that later on with the new head design and an oil pump that pushed the oil further up. Now, this isn't the only Kawasaki recall in the last 20 years or something like that, but this is certainly one of the most severe. Replacing a part that's easily accessible after removing a couple fairing pins or an electrical connector or whatever is relatively straightforward, but fixing something on the bottom end of the engine, that's a big deal. In early 2025, about 4,000 Kawasaki Z500 and Ninja 500 models actually received a recall over the clutch release shaft. These recalls were quickly and quietly resolved, and everyone was none the wiser. Just in April of this year, some KX Enduro models were actually recalled to replace the primary gear. And in fact, a few years ago, a few H2SX variants, some of those VINs, were actually affected by a brake rotor recall as well. And a couple of years before that, the ZX-10R was actually recalled for transmission issues. My point being, this isn't exactly the first time Kawasaki's had to issue a recall. And honestly, it probably won't be the last. Human error is inevitable, and even though our machining processes, fabrications, production line assemblies, and supply chains have all gotten a lot better in the last 100 years or so, there's always humans at the start of all of those processes, so things are going to go wrong. So if recalls are so common, why do some of them stir up way more controversy than others? Because this one seems to be slowly taking the internet by storm. My personal take on this is that 600 owners are just more annoying than any other kind of motorcycle rider, but that's just my own take on it. Hey, listen, if they get super vocal in the comments section about how the R6 makes 2 more peak horsepower than the ZX-6R, you guys know that they're going to be annoying about a bottom end failure. But unlike KTM and their camshaft failure issue, Kawasaki is being proactive in this potential harm. They're issuing do not ride orders, they're issuing stop sales, and they're trying to figure out what's going wrong. They're not shying away from the problem. But while Kawasaki is trying to get ahead of the scandal, ZX-6R owners have taken what little information they have and they've ran with it on forums and online. Kawasaki may not have realized that the 24-year-old Kyles working at your local power sports dealership would certainly take the stop sale notice and just plaster them all over the internet. And when partial information is proliferated on the internet, people are going to do what they do. They create rumor mills, speculation, and excessive worrying. And for as harsh as I was on 600 guys just a few minutes ago, you can't really blame them for spinning yarns on the forum posts. I mean, they bought a brand new bike less than a year ago for easily over $12,000, and to have Kawasaki tell you that it's a paperweight until they tell you it's safe to ride again really sucks. And when the potential recall involves something that could seriously injure the rider and cause a catastrophic crash, it is a moral imperative for the company to issue a stop sale and tell the owners to not ride. They don't want anybody seizing their engines, and they certainly don't want anybody dying while on their bike and being on the hook for it. So as owners of 24 or 25 ZX-6Rs are sitting on this do not ride and stop sale notice, they're just frustratingly looking at their motorcycles languishing in their garage. And of course, like I said, the most upset consumers are usually the most vocal. So after the official stop sale was issued, anybody who had a ZX-6R that did face some sort of engine failure or catastrophic issue was very loud on the internet. And of all the motorcycles that could be experiencing this issue, it is a little ironic and kind of ominous that it's the ZX-6R that's having it happen, since the 600cc Supersport category is slowly being phased out and dying. The R6 was discontinued globally, the GSX R600 was discontinued in Europe, and to be honest, at some point it's got to get discontinued here in the States as well, as Suzuki will probably consolidate the GSX R600 and GSX R750 into some new generation Supersport bike, kind of like the R9. And while the CBR 600RRs had a refresh in Europe, it's the same old bike it's always been here in the States. So the ZX-6R was really the last bike carrying the torch of this 600cc category bike. If this widespread stop sale and eventual recall of all these motorcycles causes them all to go back to dealerships and get their engines replaced and repaired, it could be the final nail in the coffin for the traditional Japanese 600 class motorcycle. I don't want to sound too alarmist, but that legitimately could happen. I mean, would you trust the new ZX-6R after seeing this stop sale issue, or would you just go and buy an R9? Interestingly enough, will used prices go up because those people who need the 600cc inline four Scream, perhaps more demand will go for late models as well? In reality, I think everything's going to be just fine. I don't think this one recall for Kawasaki is going to be the nail in the coffin for their reputation as a very reliable motorcycle builder. And people have short memories. The humdrum will die down as more information is made available. And honestly, there's been plenty of other recalls that have happened in the motorcycle industry for other big brands that haven't had nearly the effect that people thought it would have. BMW had recalls, Aprilia had recalls. I mean, who can remember the RS660's bottom end failure that they quickly replaced and fixed? And KTM's camshaft issues weren't even the primary reason why they were in financial ruin. They bought a bunch of bicycle companies, go figure. So while the timing for this drama is very unfortunate for the 600cc superfans, I do think that it will ultimately die down. Or maybe it won't. And maybe Kawasaki dealers and techs are now going to start cracking open every single 636 engine sold in the last 2 years. Time will tell, but if things evolve in an interesting way in the weeks leading up to this video going live, we will follow up with an update. Thanks so much for checking out today's video, folks. This Panigale seated right next to me is a giveaway bike on yammynoob.co. I featured it as a prop in today's video as a bit of an FU to all the 600cc boys who think that this motorcycle isn't nearly as good as their ZX-6R, because guess what? This thing didn't have a stop sale on it. Win it for free over on yammynoob.co. Thanks so much for checking out today's video. I truly do appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Keep watching Yammy Noob.